Hey everybody, it's Chris here. Sorry to be that this is gonna be a short video, and I'll try to give you guys as much information as I can. Anyways, I'm here in Salt Lake City. I actually just got off work, so that would explain, my clothes. Sorry, and it is a Sunday, so here in downtown Salt Lake, things are a little quieter usually on a Sunday. Parking is free, so that's why I like to come up and do the cemetery stuff on a Sunday. But it looks like there's something going on today, but I'm not sure what is going on. Anyways, I wanted to just make this little video just to make it, just because these graves are a little harder to find. They aren't located in the Salt Lake Cemetery, but right here I'm at 200 North Main Street here in downtown Salt Lake. You'll see where I'm at, because that's the conference center right there, just right on that other corner. And if you just look down this road, there's the Salt Lake Temple and Temple Square. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and go down here, show you these two graves that are a little bit hard to find. Took me a few laps to go on and go find these two. Anyways, they are the graves for Newel K. Whitney and Heber C. Kimball. Now, at first I didn't even know that they were here, buried in Salt Lake City. I thought they were still in Illinois at first. I didn't know that. I mean, so that's the news that I learned. But no, they both have a family plot here, and they both families share it. So let's go ahead and go visit them real quick. Let's see here. Is it this one? Same, just see him what I mean. It's a little bit busier here for Sunday. It's usually not this busy on Sunday at all here in Salt Lake City. So, if anybody, today is, it's the very end of August, like last Sunday in the month of August 2015. But yeah, so you got the Joseph Memorial Building right there, and we still got the conference center just right there. But here's where it's hard to find. Obviously you can't find parking here, so the best time to come is on a Sunday when parking is free, and usually there's a lot more parking space that's open. Well, usually in between this building, this red brick building right here, and the Deseret Apartments, the Kimball, that's what it's called. The red brick building is called the Kimball, and the Deseret Apartments. But then you got like this little pathway up here. So I'm going to be a little quiet while I go there. Usually these gates are closed, locked at night. So no pets, no alcohol, no camping permitted in the park. So we'll go ahead and go, keep walking on up here. So again, I'm going to be quiet, but I'm going to go ahead and film the walk on up there. Just out of respect for the dead. And I don't want to get in trouble with anybody by being here. I mean, you won't get in trouble, but, just out of respect for everybody else, I'm going to be quiet and let everybody get the peace and quiet, And sorry for my heavy breathing. I'm kind of out of shape, and this is kind of an uphill walk from here. If you look through there, that's a church office building through there. And if my sources are correct, this is the former missionary training center right there. My dad served his mission from 1977 to 1979. And he says that's where he went to the MTC at. Of course, the one I went to when I went on my mission was in Provo. So, just to get you some idea of where we're at. And then here we are. Kimball Cemetery. Now don't get, this gate usually is locked, or Usually it looks like it's locked, but let's open it up. Let's walk on in. Okay. Now here, there's no official grave markers where exactly. So there's no grave markers exactly where all the bodies are buried. Okay, here's the memorial for where they are at. This is for Heber C. Kimball. One of the first presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who was born on June 11th, 1801, in the town of Sheldon, Franklin County, state of Vermont, and who died in Salt Lake City, Utah Territory, June 22nd, 1868, aged, or 18, I can't read it, 1868, aged 67, I think. It's hard to read, some of the print is coming out. Okay, oh, right here. Heber Chase Kimball, 14 June 1801 to June 22nd, 1863. So just over a week after his 62nd birthday. Here's some of the other members that are buried here. Whitney, and here Newel K. Whitney. That's one. I think that's his son, Newel K. Whitney. Yeah, that's his son. Born September 1851, died about October 1st, 1851. So he's only a month old. Right here, Newel K. Right there, Newel Kimball Whitney. So I guess he was also a family member of the Heber C. Kimball family. I think they were cousins, Newel K. Whitney and Heber C. Kimball. Born February 5th, 1795, died September 23rd, 1850. So he was 55 years old. His wife died pretty young too. 1821, 1848. And information for this memorial was obtained from the 1900 register of the cemetery and from the families of those buried here. So it looks like there's a lot of people buried here. Let's go back to the other side. Billet Murray, wife of Heber C. In memory of Newel K. Whitney. Presiding Bishop of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, born February 3rd, 1795, in Marlborough, Brigham County, Vermont, died September 23rd, 1850, at the Great Salt Lake City Deseret, having been a member of the church 20 years and faithfully official in his office 18. So yeah, that's them right there. So hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna go see if I can find Brigham Young again. See if I can get in there. Oh, just one real quick thing. I know I was quiet during the whole time walk up here, but this is why we even have a sign here that says you be a little quiet, be more reverent. So when you guys come up here, just just be quiet and be respectful. Even if you agree or disagree with the teaching of the church, is fine. But I'm not official. I mean, I'm not a spokesman for the church, but most people that in the church just ask you to be reverent and respect their leaders and stuff, and go on from there. So I'm just on my way back to the car. So yeah, here's the intersection I was at earlier. I parked just right up the road up there. 200 Main, and you recognize the mansion back there. Would be a good place to turn. Usually I like to look for it. Alright, I was able to find a parking space. Like I said earlier today, the whole bunch of parking is full. Usually I can park on the side of the street anywhere, be very close up to where my destination is. Anyways, I just parked behind me back there. I had a parallel parking. I hate parallel parking, if you ask me. So, right here, here's the intersection of First Avenue and A Street. You see that there's a Magdalene Church back there. I think that's a Irish Catholic church. But then down here, if you look to the right, usually these parking spaces are open. You can just have a perfect look straight on down into the Salt Lake Temple and the church office building. Okay, so what I'm doing in here is the grave of, there's actually the grave of two people down here. Yeah, sorry, I had to turn my camera on. There's actually two people here that I buried here. That everybody knows, actually. Obviously, the first one is Brigham Young. He's the one who brought the Saints here to the Salt Lake Valley originally. And then also Eliza R. She's also a big name here in the Salt Lake Valley and also in the church history. When we actually get down to the graves, I will hear the bells ringing back there. But as soon as we get to the graves, I can be able to tell more history that goes with them. So until then, you can enjoy some of the architecture here. These are apartments. Looks like they're pretty old apartments, but looks like I think they were built in the 40s, maybe the 50s. Yeah, they're kind of old, a little rundown. But it's one of the things I love about downtown Salt Lake is a lot of the architecture down here. So, if you don't mind, I'll be a little quiet. Again, out of respect for people. So, enjoy the ride, or enjoy the view until then. These are the Brigham apartments. You can see them on the other side of South State Street. Conveniently named after Brigham Young. Rockwell apartments, named after Orrin Porter Rockwell. You probably hear some of that jackhammer in the background from State Street or South Temple. I'm actually surprised they have some construction going on a Sunday here. All right, now we come up to, it's kind of a memorial park. It's not exactly a full cemetery. Pioneer Memorial Park. And now there's a place just up there that has like the same outer gate as this one, so don't confuse it. Well, you can see it back there is an apartment building, whereas here with this gate, it's like the same style gate and everything. You'll see a statue. This is the memorial monument. All is well. All is well. The statuary and surrounding gardens have been created in tribute to the Mormon pioneers who sang joyously "All is well" amid the trials and rigors of the long trek from Nauvoo, Illinois to the Salt Lake Valley. Their beginnings came on April 6, 1830, when the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in other words known as the Mormons, was organized under the leadership of the prophet Joseph Smith in Fayette, New York. An unwavering faith in the teachings of the church bound them together and caused them to seek a haven in the mountain wilderness where they could worship God unmolested, driven from their homes in Nauvoo early in 1846 through religious prosecutions. The Mormon pioneers struggled westward on foot, horseback, and in wagons, many drawn by oxen. Of 80,000 who began their journey before the coming of the railroad in 1869, some 6,000 lost their lives along the trail. The pioneers, under President Brigham Young, founded Salt Lake City in 1847. The church for which they made this heroic sacrifice has now grown worldwide, bringing faith and hope and joy to millions. All is Well Pioneer Memorial Monument, commissioned by the National Society of the Sons of Utah Pioneers, dedicated June 1st, 1974. Sculptor Edward Froughton. To the right. The Mormon pioneers moved slowly across nearly 1,400 miles of wilderness with sweat and faith and fortitude. They built hundreds of communities in the mountain vastness. With patient care, they planted and nourished the soil. As the land responded, a new Christian way of life emerged in the wilderness. The faith they embraced lives on today, encouraging and strengthening a growing number of lives in many lands. And over here, we have William Clayton. He's actually buried in the Salt Lake Cemetery. I posted a tour of it, and I believe I included William Clayton in there. But he is not buried here, but they got a memorial for him here. The hymn Come, Come Ye Saints has become a rallying song of Mormons everywhere. Its words were penned by William Clayton. Born in Penwortham, Lancashire, England, in 1814, he came to America as a convert of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. When the pioneers made their historic trek from Illinois to Salt Lake Valley, he served as a clerk of the first group of entering the valley of the journey in Iowa. He penned the words, Come, Come Ye Saints. Almost immediately, it became a pioneer favorite. And it is in the church hymn book, and there it is originally. We'll go ahead and head up the other memorial over there on our way out. And also, Justin mentioned Brigham Young and Eliza R are not the only ones here. There are some other family members. Truman O. Angel, he is buried in the Salt Lake Cemetery, and he's the architect of the Salt Lake Temple, but some of his family members are buried here too. Buster Brigham Young. And the statue of Brigham Young, I'm assuming he's with a couple of his kids. Get the Bible open right here. It looks like he's reading the Book of Mormon. Now if we go over here, right here in the corner is the grave of Brigham Young. Memorial was erected June 10th, 1838. Grave of Brigham Young, prophet, pioneer, statesman, born June 1st, 1801 in Whitney, Vermont. Died August 29th, 1877 at Salt Lake City, Utah. He died of a ruptured appendix. Brigham Young, second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, succeeded Joseph Smith, founder of the church, who was martyred at Carthage Jail in Carthage, Illinois. He was chosen as leader of the people in 1844 and sustained as president of the church December 27, 1847. Same year they arrived in the Salt Lake Valley. Earlier that year, He led the Mormon pioneers from Winter Quarters, Omaha, to the Salt Lake Valley, arriving here on July 24th. In 1849, he became governor of the provisional state of Deseret, and in 1850, governor of the state of the territory of Utah. This tablet, erected in honor of their beloved leader by the Young Men's and Young Women's Mutual Improvement Associations, which were organized under his direction. Utah Pioneer Trails and Landmarks Association. Now, as many of you know, Brigham Young was not only best known as the leader of the church, or second prophet of the church, but he was also known as a polygamist. Before he joined the church, he only had one wife, and after he joined, he added on another 54, totaling 55 wives. And I think he had children with 46 of those wives, and only 30. I think he had a total of 50-something, almost 60 kids, I think it was, and only about around 40 of them reaching adulthood. He had many famous descendants. One of them, I believe one of his daughters being a women's rights activist in Utah, one of the more popular ones. I forget her name. And I'm sorry. And also one of his grandsons was a convicted murderer. I forget his name too. So he himself was not perfect, nor was his family. But so as you can see, as I said on that plaque, that he was the very first governor of the territory of Utah, and because of laws forbidding the practice of polygamy, he was forced to step down. But the person who originally put him there was President Millard Fillmore, United States President. I forget which president number he was. I'm sorry, again. But I believe he was before Lincoln. I think he was the 14th, 13th, or 15th president of the United States, one of the two. Or one of the three, I'm sorry. So he was able to set up the territory of Utah. Originally, it was named the state of Deseret, and it reached all the way from as far south as Mexico, as far north as parts of Idaho. But the United States government forbid that Utah or Deseret at the time being so huge, so they separated into three separate states now known as Idaho, as Utah, and Arizona, and actually it's also rumored that Nevada was included in parts of that state. But now we have Utah as just a small state, which is fine, and actually Utah did not become a state until I believe 1896, and at that time I believe it was Wilford Woodruff who was the president of the church. So yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and walk around some more of the cemetery. I just gave you a brief history of Brigham Young. There's a lot more to him than just that. But let's go ahead and walk around the cemetery and get more and learn more of the history. Mary and Angel Young, born June 8, 1805, died June 27, 1882. Lucy Young, born May 17, 1822, and died January 24th, 1891. Oh, one last thing. I wanted to mention this before I ended the video. The reason why the church practiced polygamy is because at the time there were so many women in the church, but not enough men or priesthood holders in the church. So that's why in the church we don't. The women in the church don't, even though they don't hold the priesthood, they have many other jobs that are just as important as men holding the priesthood. These are usually roles of the mother, and that's actually the main role, but there's also other roles. They are teachers of our children. They hold positions that are presidents and first and second counselors of the Relief Society, of the primary program. They teach our youth the right way to lead their lives. Men are usually the supporters, or they are usually the ones who bring the money into the family. Women are usually the ones who do everything else. They play a huge role in the church. But there weren't enough priesthood holders in the church for women to marry, so polygamy was taught to help women receive these blessings as well too. Not all of them practiced it, but it was taught. And let's see, polygamy was officially taken away from the church in 1890. Wilford Woodruff offered the first manifesto of the church, banning further polygamous marriages from occurring, but it did not eliminate any currently at the time. It did not ban any of those polygamous marriages at the time from happening. Then it just banned from any further polygamous relationships from going on. Meaning no more marriages were performed in the temples at all. And any further polygamous marriages that were performed were seen as unbearable, I guess you can say unbearable by the church, and was seen as means for excommunication from the church, which did happen. And in 1912, Joseph F. Smith provided the second manifesto, further banning the practice of polygamy in the church. John Taylor, who was the third president of the church. Sorry about that motorcycle in the background. But apparently there was a 1886 revelation that renewed the current everlasting gospel. Many people saw that as a further indication that polygamy should be practiced, but the church denies this revelation from ever happening. And apparently there may or may not be photographs of the original documents. But as you know, as I just said, as of 1890, the church had not practiced polygamy at all. So, anyways, I had to say that. I knew I forgot to say that earlier. Anyways, here is the grave of Eliza R. Smith. She was married to the Smith family. And she was the brother of Lorenzo Snow, who was, I think, the 5th president of the church. Anyway, she was born in Beckett, Berkshire County, Massachusetts on January 21st, 1804. And she died in Salt Lake City, Utah, December 5th, 1887. I'm not exactly sure why she is buried here, just a few spots away from Brigham Young. But she's here. She did many of the early, she helped to start the Relief Society in the church. She had written many of the hymns in our current hymn book, and they are still, many of them are actually still in our hymn book today. And she also had a lot to do with teaching the women's rights in the church as well. And here's one of the wives of Brigham Young, Susanna Snively Young. She died in 1892, and she was 75 years. I'm not sure why there's no grave marker for her, other than this. But she's here. And I've been over there to that side. I think I showed earlier in the video, there's those few graves over there of the sons and of a couple of the sons of Brigham Young and one of his wives. But I have been over there before. There are no more of these little headstones. So let's go ahead and walk around some more. I'm sorry this video is so long. Let's see, there is no more of them here. I wonder why there's only that one. I thought, for some reason, I remember seeing more of those little headstones elsewhere. Did I miss any? I don't think I missed any, sorry. Just double checking. And 39-year-old Mary V. Young, one of the wives of President Brigham Young, daughter of John and Lucy Van Cott, born February 2nd, 1844, died January 5th, 1844, just barely under a month before her 40th birthday. And like I said, we practice polygamy to help spread the gospel and bring more priesthood holders to the church. Women definitely play a strong role in the church. I do want to emphasize that. Let's go ahead and go on back up here. There's the bust we saw earlier. Nobody else is buried down in here. Anyways, here's some more. I'll talk about the Mormon pioneers. Abiding faith in God and the determination to protect their freedom to worship led the Mormon pioneers to seek refuge in an unsettled mountain region. This monument is a tribute not only to those who gave their lives on the trail across the plains, but to those who endured countless trials and privations and lived to make their new desert home blossom as a rose. Let's go ahead and read this plaque. And there's also an Eliza R. memorial that we will read here in a second. Between 1856 and 1860, some 3,000 handcart pioneers walked from Iowa to the Salt Lake Valley, pushing and pulling two-wheeled carts loaded with their belongings. Some 250 lost their lives on the handcart trail when trapped by blizzard in high mountain passes. The survivors helped build thriving communities in the mountains with the way of life offering eternal hope to all mankind. And here's our memorial to Eliza R. Snow. And as I said earlier, she wrote a lot of the poems and a lot of which were turned into hymns in our current hymn book. One of them being this hymn, "O My Father," which is most likely the most popular hymn known to the saints right now, one of them. And Eliza R. Snow, the well-known Mormon hymn, "O My Father," has lived in millions of hearts through generations with a sublime message on man's eternal journey. Words to the hymn were written by Eliza R. Snow, born in Beacon, Massachusetts in 1804. She was converted with her family to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, better known as Mormons, and they trekked to the Salt Lake Valley before her death in 1887. She served long and faithfully as a leader in women and youth organizations of the church. Not a light role to play. Anyways, I'm going to read the first hymn of the "O My Father" that she had written. "O my Father, thou that dwellest in the light and glorious place, when shall I regain thy presence, and again behold thy face, in thy holy habitation? did my spirit once reside. In my father, or in my first primeval childhood, was I nurtured near thy side. And it goes on from there. It's like a prayer turned into a hymn that she wrote. In other words, it was a poem that she wrote as a prayer. Anyways, I hope that this video has been an inspiration and a help to those who seek to find the graves of the church leaders here in Salt Lake City. This one, not exactly very hard to find. It's just depending on what time of day you come visit it. Like I said, usually I come here on a Sunday after work if I'm working on a Sunday to come visit. But as you can see, spots are usually taken up. Usually they're empty, and they're easy to find here in Salt Lake City. Just gotta look straight on to the Salt Lake Temple and the church office building right there on the right. Again, I hope that this video has been a helpmate to you. And please share the video, join or subscribe to my channel at Shrinerdawg. It's a bunch of random videos, I know, I'm sorry. But I'm really into church history, and if anybody would like to have a guide to the Salt Lake Cemetery, I have another video posted on here on my YouTube channel. Hopefully that can help you out. Or comment in the bottom. Let me know if you ever want to set up like a tour of the cemetery. I'll show you around. Hopefully we can set things up. Thanks.